So yeah, we had a very last minute game scheduled yesterday evening, which was kind of too late for me, too late in the day for me to be able to cast it live. But yeah, it was a lower bracket game between our very own Jesze and c3mbrich, or c3mbrich, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his name, I'll probably call him c3mbrich from now on. Hopefully that's the correct one. But yeah, obviously Jesse's been a big member of the community, AoE1 community, for a very long time, so anyone has been following the scene for any length of time should definitely be familiar with him. Meanwhile, c3mbrich is a pretty new face. I believe he's a fairly decent AoE2 player, but he only joined the Rise of the Ancients Discord somewhat recently. So it'll be interesting to see how skilled he is at Age of Empires 1, Return of Rome. And yeah, like I said, I don't know too much about him. I've not really seen him much in lobbies. Let me see what he put in his sign up. Because I feel like someone put, because Karma put a thing where you can put your favourite civ, and someone just put, I've got no idea. And I feel like it might have been him. Let me have a see. So I think Jesze actually put the Phoenicians as his one, which surprised me a bit. I've managed to swing him round to liking one of my favourite civs. Where is c3mbrich in here? Yeah, he put favourite civ, I don't know. But yeah, he's a Spanish player. I think he may be a friend of Pume's, because I think he was who invited c3mbrich to the server. They're both Spanish at the very least. But yep, so they played their best of 5 series last night. Like I said, it was quite late, so I didn't have a chance to cast it live, but I have the replays for you here now. So anyone that does know the result of the game, obviously no spoilers in the chat, etc. I think Jesze did stream his point of view, so some people may have actually had a chance to see Jesse's point of view from the series, but obviously we'll have the whole map view for us here. So I have the drafts from the series, so we may as well get straight in. And as per usual, Highland is going to be the first map played, and we'll see how the draft went here. Jesze is quite a big fan of the sort of mixed maps, or the water maps, so I suspect maybe some of those will sneak into the draft. And again, I don't really know anything about c3mbrich here, so it'll be interesting to see what he goes for. Normally the tendency is, if they're stronger players, they usually prefer the sort of more open land maps. Like I said, I believe he's a fairly strong AoE2 player. Dark Forest banned, Inland is banned, so yeah, Inland often does get picked quite a lot, so it's obviously the AoE1 classic. See what c3mbrich goes for his first map pick. And yeah, just to remind you, the loser of each map, Inside Out, that's the exact opposite of what I was expecting here. But yeah, the loser gets to pick from the map pool what the next map is going to be. They can pick their own or their opponents. And yeah, Jesze does indeed go for one of those more water maps with coastal. And it'd be interesting if c3mbrich does just go for citadels as well. You can pick the double. Maybe it's just a thing where, like I said, maybe he's not 100% confident with his early gameplay in AoE1. So he just wants those. We do get both sides of the coin here, the very open Sahara map, and then more closed Inside Out there. So we've got a good map variety here. It'll be interesting to see what Jesze goes for. Actually goes for Oasis as well. So we've got those two very open maps, obviously with Highland in the pool as well. But then an addition of a water map with coastal and Inside Out for that more closed map. So quite a lot of the civs going to be quite relevant for the draft here. It'll be interesting to see what they did go with here. So both players get a hidden ban, so it is possible for this ban to be the same. Let's see what Jesze led off with. It's not unheard of that Minoans can slip into the bans when the water maps are present, so we'll see if that happens. But it is usually, traditionally, it's the Shang is in the bans. In the past, it has been the Lac Viat as well. We're both literally going to get both of those picks. I did say in my video that I'm a little bit down on obviously there's still strong Civ, the Latvia, and those on those open maps in the early game, but I feel like outside of that early game, the bonuses aren't that strong, so you have to quite get that early lead. Interesting, Assyrians was the first pick by c3mbrich. That's one of my least favourites, as we all know, and Jesze grabbing the Carthaginians and Yamato straight away. Interesting that Jesze didn't go for the Minoans there. Obviously Yamato very good on the large spread of maps, not just the water maps, and Carthaginians also just very strong in those more open maps as well, so both these civs very good on the more open maps. Yep, Persians, pretty solid pickup when it comes to when both Sahara and Oasis are in the map pool. Not such a good pick on most of the other maps these days. Sometimes they can be played on some of the like kind of hybrid maps like Ocean Ring and stuff, where you guarantee to get those 2 elephants and a bit of hunting early, and then they have a bit of a water bonus. Hittites then picked up, possibly for inside out Phoenicians. So it looks like Jesse's just going with a lot of the just generically strong civs here. I'll be interested to see if he does pick the Minoans, or he maybe thinks to go for an inside out civ here, possibly the Egyptians. So yeah, I'm thinking Egyptian. Oh, Romans actually. Okay, interesting. As again, I said in my video talking through all the civs recently, I think Romans is a bit of a best of the rest civ. Never really a terrible civ, but not really a top civ on any map either, but just a solid civ. And then we'll see where the last few picks take us. Chosen Minoans. I mean, like I said, I'm a little bit surprised Minoans did slip all the way down with Coastal in the map pool. And Egyptians does get picked up by Jesze now, which just leaves us with the last few civs. Babylonians picked up. Obviously, only going to be 5 games. We have an extra civ, so you do have 2 civs to pick from in your last game. If we do go for the full 5, go on, Billy. And just see what we get the last civ in here as, and it's going to be the Cimmerians. Yeah. A lot of the time this last civ doesn't feel that relevant. I was wondering when we were deciding what to do for this is the like normal pick draft we've used for some time now, but it kind of feels like a lot of the time this 6th civ feels a little bit irrelevant. I guess it doesn't make too much of a difference, so there we go. So missed out on, what did we miss out? The Macedonians didn't get picked. The Palmyrians, like again in my video going over the tier list of what I thought the good civs, I feel like Palmyrians are actually a pretty solid civ, but not many people picking them up yet. Greeks as well didn't make the cut. And let's see then. So Highland map. And what's just, well, I guess we'll just It's a little bit complicated to try and think of what civs are going to be played on the first map, but we'll just so instead of speculating, we'll just get straight on in, because like I said, we're going from replays. So I can get us just straight into the Highland game, and I will mute the music and get us into the series. I think I have Capture Age up and running already. There we go. So again, first map is going to be Highland, like I said. And we'll just need to load it in. Where we go. So it's going to be the Carthaginians. So, oh, it is. Okay, so it's just Carthaginians against the Assyrians. So it's both the first picks from both players. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Assyrians. I just don't feel like their bonuses or tech tree are really that good. Don't really make them stand out that much on really any map. One of the bonuses, obviously, the fast-moving villagers can be quite good for trying to snag those extra elephant in the centre of the map that always spawn, just because you're more likely to be able to, like, well, you just can get there faster. But it is going to be Jesze to send out a villager earlier, and that's one advantage of the Carthaginians is...
Yes.
I like it, yeah. So actually Jesze pointing out to c3mbrich, just in case he didn't know. And... but yeah, as Carth, you get those extra starting resources, so it means you can actually send that villager out a little bit earlier, just because you don't necessarily need it to... Oh, that is unfortunate. Is that blocked there? Yes, there is a tree just behind that there. So that's a little bit unfortunate for Jesze, because that means he's only going to get the 1 elephant. And meanwhile, c3mbrich is going to find 2. It'd be interesting to think if he thinks these are the central elephant. Because it looks like he's not pathing to, like, the absolute centre of the map. Ooh, wow, where it go away? What's happened here? Bear with me as I try to get rid of this fog mode thing. Why is that? I don't know how to get rid of this. Fog mode, I think that's Control F, isn't it? Shift F. Okay, let me just slightly derail this. I don't know the short key for that. It's not going to be good if that blocks the mini-map for the entire time. I actually have no idea how I pop that up. So I might... Sorry, just bear with me. I'm going to just restart Capture H again because I actually don't know the short key to get rid of that. I don't know how I got picked that up. A little user error there by me. Sorry about that. Get us back into the game. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, c3mbrich, yeah, is going to miss that other elephant, but just going to grab 2 from himself. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate for Jesze there. There's just like you can see, just highlighted behind a couple of front trees. There is a tree just behind that. Alt F. But they didn't. That doesn't bring up the menu though. So I don't know how I brought up that little menu thing. But thank you for thanks for the input. I did used to use that a lot more. But like then I figured out you can just select a unit and hold down tab, and that's like way easier to see the point of view. But yeah, Jesze just killing his gazelle and going to build a pit next to that. But yeah, to go back to talking about the civs, Carthaginians with just those extra resources should do a lot better than the Assyrians in the early game. But we'll see what comes out from the players here. Like again, I said I've got no idea what the level of c3mbrich is in AoE1, so interesting to see how he does try and do this. He is sending out a villager, maybe just a little bit of scouting. He does find an elephant there, just sort of forming a bit of a house wall. But yeah, the forward villager coming out from Jesze already. He's still fair ways from clicking up, so maybe this villager coming out slightly early, unless he is just trying to find his own elephant. Looks like he did find one of them, but the other one is just here. So just find that now. I guess that other elephant was there. I didn't actually fully check. And yeah, c3mbrich just bringing that extra elephant as well back. I don't think he has spotted the gazelle, but not the second elephant here. And we'll see. So 19 vills. A little less idle time for c3mbrich actually, so he's been doing a good job of keeping his villager production going. And Jesze with an extra couple of villagers in the queue, I think he'll probably want to cancel a few of those. Although that said, both players creating extra villagers here. Usually we see players clicking up at 20 vills. But yeah, both players... What's Jesze doing here? We've got 10 villagers in queue. I mean, Jesze can literally just cancel all of these and click up. I don't know what's going... Is this bugged? No, there are just that many villagers in queue. Okay, so this is a little bit confusing from Jesze, and c3mbrich has clicked up on 22 vills, which again is still a little bit unusual. Finally, Jesze cancels the whole queue down, so he's gone up to 24 villagers. This is more of like fast bronze style, which you definitely wouldn't have thought that was what the play would be. Carthaginian is usually one of the best civs at getting that early aggression in. He is going to just build the barracks up at home. So yeah, that villager just found the elephant and then came back again. He didn't put one out again. So both players are going to build the barracks at home. c3mbrich is going to, like I said, going to be the first to get to the tool age. What has been a slightly unusual start to the game. Jesze got a villager on stone here. Don't know if that's just to grab 10 stone, just have a little bit extra whilst the villager's there and just take it back. Hopefully that wasn't a misclick. 2 villagers coming forward here now, just building a house. I guess maybe these are going to put up possibly an archery range or maybe a stable as soon as he hits tool. But yeah, tool age is in for c3mbrich, just researching the wall straight away. And it's double archery range going down, which is makes sense for the Assyrians. Carthaginians with that extra starting stone are one of the best at getting slingers out on the field, and he still has that one villager collecting stone. So I don't know, again, if that was a misclick, but yeah, stable is coming down, and storage pit, I guess. Kind of looks like it's next to gold, but we're a bit early for gold. I don't know if Jesse's going to just try and maybe... I'm highly confused here. I don't know, like I was going to say, I don't know if he's going to try and like play a fast tool age and get himself to bronze, but scouts get him, and yeah, just trying to hold with scouts against the archers. Obviously scouts doing the bonus damage versus archers. How much bonus? Yeah, it's 3 actually, yeah, and you can see the new addition of the bonus damage against, it says monks there, but I think that's just the monk class, so like it does count priests in that class. But we do have the first handful of bowmen out, but c3mbrich has plenty of time to try and wall up. He's gone for quite large walls, so he's not quite closed himself off fully yet. I don't know if Jesse saw, I think he should have maybe just about seen the bowman there. But first, Scout is going to get in. Both tool age upgrades are in. It should easily take care of this bowman here. And he does see that the walls aren't quite up yet. This Scout here is going to get a little bit caught out. So he does have 1 pierce armor, but that's already half the health more or less gone. And villagers don't have the needlework in, but Scouts aren't the absolutely strongest units, but that is 1 villager kill for Jesse there. Woodworking already in for c3mbrich, and he's still sort of scouting around trying to find his opponent's base. And Jesse stopped making scouts for the time being, but I don't really understand why we're collecting gold this early in the game. Obviously nothing costs gold at this point in the game, and you have to get to the Bronze Age for anything to cost gold. You can obviously buy resources at the market, but it's not usually a good idea to do that just because the exchange rate is pretty poor in AoE1. So you only really usually do it as a last resort, and Jesse's going to get 1 villager caught out as well, so that evens up the score. And I think, yeah, we are fully walled in now. So the scouts only really able to get minimal amount of damage in. They should quite easily be able to deal with the bowman here, though. So if Jesse is paying attention, he should easily be able to mop this up. And next wave of bowmen is coming in. And one thing I haven't checked is eco count, and we are 35 to 35, so yeah, just about equal TC time. I don't know if, well, we do have armor in for the archers there, but obviously with that extra bonus damage from the scouts, it's still going to be fairly easy for them to mop that up. So after all said and done, it is a fairly even position. I think c3mbrich probably, you got to say, because he's just given himself more space behind his walls. He also has like a couple of those berry patches and another gold, so quite a nice number of resources in his base here, whereas Jesse's felt that he needs to be a bit more tighter up. Yeah, I think it might have been better to try and wall here, and then potentially between there and there. Probably would have been about the same number of wall tiles. Again, Jesse should be able to clear this up, I think. Maybe just, yes, maybe it would be a good idea to split the scouts up and send them to the different parts there. Artifact unfortunately getting held in. Nice little bit of just kiting by c3mbrich, but I think he should lose most of these bowmen. And yeah, he's just all in on the bowman at the moment. c3mbrich a little bit, yeah, gets those 4, but those last 2 stay alive. A little bit unbalanced on the resources at the moment, but more farms are going down. And it looks like it might be c3mbrich that's going to be able to click to the Bronze Age before his opponent. Villager gets caught out there on the stone. Again, another villager on gold, and I don't... This is very strange. I don't really understand why that pit went up. Like, when it went up, I sort of hesitated for a moment because I kind of half suspected it should be on the stone for maybe slinger production. But yeah, it's a very confusing one there from Jesse for me. Another stable's going up on the back. And Jesse does click to Bronze Age now, so I guess he's just prepping for cavalry, but now he just doesn't have the scouts to deal with the bows. Where is this one? Scout's just in at the stable. I think Jesze is going to have to just keep making scouts for the time being, otherwise he's probably going to be in a little bit of trouble if these units keep massing up. But yeah, c3mbrich is going to hit the Bronze Age first. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Assyrians, but if they can get to the Bronze Age first and start massing up those chariot archers, then those can be pretty difficult to deal with. Carthaginians do get the extra HP camels, which can be useful to try and run down chariot archers, but if the chariot archer mass just gets too high, there isn't really much you can do that. There is, yeah, not really much you can do against a big mass of that unit. And c3mbrich, yeah, just chewing away at that gate there. And Jesze did use up all the stone he had. Don't know. Oh no, yeah. So yeah, he did do some trading. So he did use the market to get some extra gold in. And he has quite a few number of resources to get some early waves of cavalry out. He's not necessarily in a bad position, but like I said, c3mbrich get into that Bronze Age a bit quicker, and has those extra handful of villagers just because a couple more villager kills come down. Wait, did that wall just get killed? Oh yeah, okay. I was confused. I guess I went up to that before. I thought it had way more health in it. But yeah, the gate goes down, and Jesze didn't make any more scouts. Does have that single one still. Where actually is that one? Maybe that got, yeah, just chilling on the other side of the map. So villagers going to be caught out here. Obviously, cavalry should be able to do a good amount of damage. Well, clear up all these bowmen, but how much damage are these bows going to do to the wood line here? If the villager goes down, that's 6 eco kills. It's going to be another 7. And the cavalry, like I said, are going to clean up. I think that's 8 kills now. And Jesze being a little bit lax. I guess, yeah, maybe he could have just built up another gate behind that. Well, I didn't have the stone. He got denied from the stone there. But then he did, maybe, I don't know if he did sell stone or if he did actually use it all for the walls. He did do quite a large wall section in the end. I'd have to go back and check. Extra TC going up for both players, actually. And c3mbrich did get wheel. I did spot that coming. There we go. He started production now. I was about to say he hasn't actually started producing units yet. And a good number of cavalry are on the field now, but Jesze is quite far behind on that eco count now, 46 to 37. And c3mbrich is fully walled up, but it'd be quite easy to just go for a wall. You should attack this house here, really. Could get a nice surround on the house at the edge there. First wave of cavalry archers do come out. Cavalry do have 1 pierce armor, so these chariot archers only be doing 3 damage a shot. And Carth does get nobility in for free once they have that government centre, so be able to do quite a lot of damage. c3mbrich just trying to repair up the archer range. And like I said, I feel like Jesze should have just tried to go through the house. It's much less HP, it would be much easier to break through here. Because of this, he's taking quite a bit of damage on the cavalry, and c3mbrich has all the time in the world to build up behind that. He's going to build another archery range. And yeah, now Jesze does what he probably should have done before. I guess you can maybe argue that c3mbrich could have just easily blocked up the gap here if he just built cleared out the house, but on the same token, you can see it was quite easy to wall behind that archery range. And now Jesze may need to think about forward villager and a siege workshop to come down to try and break this wall. Oh, okay, something. How did they get in there? He didn't just open the gate, did he? But cavalry are in. I don't think this is going to be enough. I mean, actually, no, we'll manage to catch out a couple of villagers here. So some damage has been done, and more cavalry being made. I feel like c3mbrich must have just accidentally opened the door there. I'm going to do a quick drop back just to see, because I think, yeah, he just accidentally let his opponent in there. It's a small mistake by c3mbrich. I think cavalry are going to clean up, and that actually evens out more or less the eco KD. In fact, Jesze might be able to sneak ahead here now. Oh yeah, well, yeah, definitely now. That evens out things. In fact, Jesze ahead on villager count now. Needs to try and maybe get a few villagers off wood, and he's going to have to try and start expanding his base, I think, because he's getting a little bit crowded in the original one. He is open at the front of the base still, and an archery range coming down here, so maybe. Archer range, do Carthaginians get composite bowmen? They definitely get improved bowmen. I don't think they get compies though. So actually, just to get the Siege Workshop, obviously. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah, you just need the Archer range to unlock the Siege Workshop. That's what he's doing there, of course. And he kind of has lost control of the map at the moment, just because like all of his cavalry got killed on the inside there. So c3mbrich probably going to be able to deny this Siege Workshop here, if he notices. There he does now. Oh, well, 96%. The 2 villages go down, and now it's just 6 of each of this cavalry here. And no gold left. The gold was forward for Jesze. In fact, he ended up deleting that storage pit that he built in the early game. He's replaced it with a town centre. So again, that just makes me massively question what was going on in that storage pit there. Though he does have another gold up here, so he has got himself some gold still. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. And yeah, priests are actually coming forward as well to try and convert some of the cavalry. Jesze may need to just start adding in a few just regular scouts at this point. The scouts actually still do their bonus damage against chariot archers as well. The extra damage to archers is applied there. So the scouts aren't even that bad of a call. Obviously, scouts had a little bit less HP than cavalry. Only 69 to how much of these are 800? Yeah, so like less than half the health. But if they can get into range, they can still do a fair amount of damage. Jesze a little bit pinched for food. It's got a lot of wood. Trying to get the farms set up at the back here. The chariot archers in on the base now. And only the +2 armor in. And we do have +4 attack in for Jesze. So c3mbrich taking a little bit more damage than perhaps he should do. And obviously, yeah, Assyrians don't get nobility, so it's just going to be that 70 HP base HP for the chariot archerman. Priest trying to get that conversion again. I don't think he's going to... Oh, we actually did just at the last moment there. And I think this is going to tilt the fight quite heavily into... Oh, actually, no, quite a lot of damage being done. I was going to say into c3mbrich's favour, but he doesn't feel confident. Maybe just pulling back to the high ground here, take advantage of that extra damage bonus you get from being on the high ground. And how much are we up? 26 and 84 vills. And yeah, Jesze not having the food to keep villager production going. So that's what he did have. And Iron Age coming in as well now. So just the macro game of c3mbrich coming in strong now, even though he did drop down behind Jesze after that counter attack through the gate there. Yeah, I think it's getting to the point where the chariot archer mass is maybe a little too much. Jesze going for those stone throwers, but as I've said before, the stone throwers aren't really the best counter against the chariot archers. If your opponent is just paying attention, it's very easy to dodge those stone thrower shots with chariot archers just because of how fast they move. And it's going to take... I'm not sure where the new siege workshop is actually. My eyes cannot find... Oh, so it's just up here. These couple of villages definitely get taken out. And the second siege workshop trying to go down, but yeah, those villagers usually going to get taken out before that goes up. A few scouts come out, but GG is called. And Jesze maybe just seeing that his opponent has this such large mass of chariot archers in his base, and yeah, just knowing he probably going to take him a long time to try and match those numbers. So yeah, unfortunately, a little bit of a... I don't really know what happened in the early game there. It was just that point where Jesze had a ridiculous number of villagers in queue, and like if he just cancels all the villagers at this point, he pretty much has the food he needs to go up. And he just kept making vills, and his opponent had a slow up time anyway on 22 vills. And like I said, one of the biggest strengths of the Carthaginians is those extra resources should just give you that little stronger earlier game. And Jesze just, I don't know, yeah, just slightly uncharacteristic. The stable obviously makes some sense, especially when you can probably expect your Assyrian opponent to go bowman. But yeah, the storage pit just highly confusing. He's wasted a lot of time gathering gold. I don't know if he, I don't know if like he was planning to maybe go fast bronze and then changed his mind depending on after he saw c3mbrich get up to the tool age a little bit earlier than maybe expected. But then it's Highland. You should expect your opponent to be up fairly early. So yeah, I don't really know how to explain this one, unfortunately. I don't know if it was just like Jesze not wanting to go too hard on an opponent that you didn't think was maybe going to be that strong, but obviously c3mbrich had that one mistake letting the cavalry in. Where was it? It was around here, I think. There's a one mistake there by c3mbrich, but other than that, it was fairly solid play. And you saw, like, towards the end there, just like the villager numbers and bringing out the priest as well to help deal with the cavalry. And yeah, I'm not really, just some weird decision making by Jesze there, and then that just kind of allowed c3mbrich to get himself fully walled up, get up to that Bronze Age where the Assyrians mostly want to be. And yeah, I don't know if Jesse's in the chat. I presume he would have said he was there. So maybe kicking himself a little bit about the one. I did see him say some things in the on the Discord that he wasn't 100% happy with his gameplay, so maybe that was part of it there. But yeah, losing on the Carthaginians and a win on the Assyrians. So normally so Jesze has Coastal Oasis, so I do have the, well, we'll just have the replays. It's weird for me to do speculation when I kind of like seen some of the replay maps and stuff. It is Coastal we've gone on to, and yeah, c3mbrich has the Minoans for this map, which like I said, I was a little bit surprised that Civ did go. I've just realised I've got the stream starting soon thing on. Let me just turn that off real quick. There we go. I was a little bit surprised to see that Civ slip so far down the draft. And Jesze has, what has he picked here? He picked his Yamato here. And on Coastal, on the sort of 1v1 maps, yeah, you often get these maps where you are linked to your opponent, because sometimes on teams you're on like different islands and stuff. So you can still make plays on the land, but you can see here that like there's such a huge gap between the two players here. Like obviously if you get, there's the crow flies, even that distance is quite long, but then obviously we can see there's this big sort of bay area here, so the players are going to have to go the long way around. And yeah, sometimes the island does go all the way to the edge of the map on some edges of the map, but we do have a complete ocean around, although this could be easily dock blocked by c3mbrich here if he wants to like stop that channel from being like a go through route. And Yamato is still obviously a solid Civ on the water. They get the faster working fishing boats and also the high HP on their ships as well. It's just the Minoan bonus of the cheaper docks and cheaper ships tends to be pretty... Oh, sorry, it's 1-0 to c3mbrich. I forgot to click that up there. Yeah, it tends to be a little bit better. It's usually better to have a larger mass of ships than stronger ships. And obviously the cheaper bonus for the Minoans helps them do that very thing. And both players just going for a granary on the berries. No sort of early storage pits or anything on Box Turtle. And yeah, just c3mbrich doing a little bit of scouting. He's going to find an elephant there. And just have an elephant on the top side, which he has also found as well. So that's pretty nice for him. Jesze, I think, may have just narrowly missed his elephant. It's not the one tile miss, but it's fairly close. But he's going to find his other one there, and he's not really done much proper exploration yet. Anyway, it looks like it looks like looped around this area and has come around through here. We'll find his gazelles as well, so we may just start pushing those in at some point. And storage pit is going to go up on the waterline there, so not going to be massively great for wood in the long run, but obviously completely fine for the early game, and then just doubling up to get those box turtle as well. So I presume... okay, I was going to say presume more of those want to go to the box turtles. Yeah, they do that now. It wasn't impossible that he did leave those on there and then just try and get a dock up early. Unfortunately, that villager, there we go, he sorted himself out fairly quickly in the end. And it'll be interesting to see when we see the first dock go up. I'm not sure why that guy was just doing a little bit of long haul fishing. That's going to have to go all the way back to the TC, because you can only do berries and farm food to the granary. that elephant finally coming back there. And Gazelle a little bit scattered around here. I don't know if we're planning to maybe build a... I mean, storage pit here would be quite nice for the wood. Could get the Gazelle, and then later on in the game, if the game goes longer, it'll be quite nice for gold as well. It looks like c3mbrich has maybe got a little bit distracted by just sorting out his elephant there. Still holing the wood. Oh no, he's actually decided to put pit up next to the water. And this is slightly far away from these box turtle here there, but not a ridiculous amount of distance. And now a couple of villagers are coming forward for Jesze, and as both players this time do stop on 20 vils, and Jesze is the first to click up. No docks down just yet, but we should see the villagers, sort of more of them switching to collecting wood, and I think that was probably the first... Oh no, that was barracks going down, it wasn't the first dock going down just yet. But I imagine we'll see it's like docks coming up maybe towards the end of the tool age being researched. But I think maybe Jesze does just decide to go all in on the land here, as he does know, he obviously knows he's against the Minoans here, so maybe he just thinks an early rush is on the cards. Yamato are very good at doing scout rushes with their cheaper stables and scouts. But yeah, just the first couple of clubbers coming through. And this looks like a fairly nice position for Jesze at the moment. He's a little bit far away from his opponent. That's actually the biggest problem, is he doesn't know exactly where his opponent is. Villagers going separate directions, so it looks like he's just trying to cover as much ground as possible. He does find his opponent now, so the villagers start coming back. And it'd be interesting to see if he just whacks a stable down straight away, or if he tries to get his villagers nearer. Tool working is coming in as a... he cancels that against the infantry armor instead. I was interested to see if he just didn't bother with the infantry armor and just tried to go into scout straight away. Villagers are still coming forward though. They've not actually started building the building yet. And I feel like that's a little bit of a mistake, but that barracks has been delayed, which means c3mbrich can only just start making units from that now. And he hasn't... Okay, is that archery range coming up now? And archery range from Jesze. I don't... You can see his opponent's completely open here. I think the correct play would have just been to go for the scouts. I guess maybe he thought... I don't know. Like on Conti maps, it's quite easy to like wall your villagers in behind wood lines, but the wood lines not the best. I mean, if c3mbrich was behind this wood line, you could sort of make sense of it, try and range over. But yeah, he's going to just try and wall up here. So obviously, bows can range over, sorry, the wood line to a certain extent. But I think I still would have liked to see the scouts come out here, especially because once you research... Oh, we didn't actually research tool working in the end, it was just the infantry armor. I was going to say if you've researched tool working, you've already got one of those upgrades you need for the scouts. Yeah, c3mbrich going for some quick walls here. And again, if the military building just got built a bit faster by Jesze there, building a granary on those forward berries there, then this rush could have been a little bit more purposeful. But yeah, these axes are just going to be easily met by the bowman now. And Jesze does have bowman on his own, but it looks like, yeah, going to get that picked off. And he's actually started making slinger as well. First few docks are coming up. I think, yeah, fishing boat out. Okay, it's on this side. And c3mbrich still hasn't actually got himself on the water yet. He looks a little bit disorganized. Yeah, maybe a little bit panic stationed. Maybe didn't expect his opponent to be on him so quickly. Yeah, the archers... Where... Have we just stopped making bowmen? Yeah, we only made a couple of bowmen in the end from Jesze. And we're coming out here. Again, like I said, slingers coming out from Jesze. Now, doesn't have stone mining in yet. And c3mbrich, I don't think, has the market down yet, so won't be able to get woodworking just yet. In fact, that's a good question. Does Jesze have a market? I don't think he does. So just going to be going off the baseline stats. These axes going to be very easily kited away. Again, I'm just surprised we didn't have the scout play and we had the archery range instead. It's a little bit confusing for me here. Yeah, it was pretty solid. Like I said, c3mbrich did make a little bit of a mistake, but there was let Jesze back in a little bit in game one. But Jesze made some pretty unusual plays in game 1 that I think kind of put him a little bit behind the position he should have been in. And leather armor is coming in for the archers. Obviously that doesn't help against the other ranged units, but it will help if Jesze did go onto the scout. But yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed to see that archer range. And again, the villagers were kind of just floating around for a while, so Jesze not be able to get that rush in as quick as he possibly could, and that gave c3mbrich the chance to wall up. Eco count is heavily in the favour of Jesze though, because he was the first to be able to get himself up onto the water. No warships out from either player just yet. Another dot going up from c3mbrich. But yeah, 7 plus 30 villagers to the 3 and only 27. And c3mbrich is adding in scouts of his own, as well as a couple of farmers just sneaking in there as well. The Minoans do get the faster working farmers. Market already up. Obviously, yeah, he got the wood. Oh no, he didn't. I thought. Remember, getting confused. I thought I saw an eco upgrade come in. Maybe it was the stone wood mining from Jesze I saw, and we're getting just a bit confused there. Oh, or not. Well, we got wood. We got woodworking coming in, Jesze. And Jesze is up on the way to Bronze Age. Like I said, he had that extra eco working from there. Scout going to be able to do quite a good amount of damage to this thing is here. And I think Jesze wasn't really paying much attention there anyway. Scout ships are coming out now. And we do have those villagers look like they abandoned the berries. I don't know if c3mbrich didn't see that, so that's kind of interesting that Jesze switched himself on to the water, I guess, a bit more. Tool working finally coming in now, and oh, I didn't see this. These bowmen, there's already bowmen forward from c3mbrich, and that's going to deny the gold there. And Jesze does see this gold down here, but it's obviously outside his walls. And what is Jesze going to do now in terms of military on the land? Obviously, Yamato don't get any chariot units, so they're pretty reliant on that gold for the land. He's researching gold mining, but I don't know if he's... Maybe does he has stone, so maybe he could gather stone and then try to build a tower there, but the tower kind of would have needed to be up a lot earlier at this point. Yeah, 16 bowmen. And c3mbrich not that near to kicking Bronze off. Bronze Age not a million miles off, but it's going to take him a while to get up there. I think Jesse's going to have to kind of rely on getting damage done on the water here. Does pick up a builder there. And that small wall, I don't think that should never go up if c3mbrich is paying any attention. And I think Jesze probably needs to start thinking about walling like this section of the map. And yeah, they are in. I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. We're finally pushing forward. And Jesse's going to be in big trouble on the water now. Yeah, he's selling resources to try and get gold just because he's been pushed off his gold there. But I think so much of the eco is going to be forced idle here. So Jesze is picking off shots on the edge of the map here, but c3mbrich can just migrate further into the map. Whereas you can just see here, 25 villagers forced on the run. You can see all the idle vills on that counter up there. And first wave of cavalry comes out. Where are the other cavalry actually? Some of them are in the stable there. And these tool-aged units, I mean, c3mbrich just trying to scout around, see if he can find any vills. The scout ship finds the rest of the vills here. Crocodile getting involved as well, doesn't quite get the kill. But the storage pit is going up right in vision of c3mbrich here. War galley is in for Jesze, and like I said, he is still picking off, doing some damage on the edge of the map there, but it feels like he's got a bit distracted and he's just trying to sort out what's going on at home. Okay, big wave of cavalry does come in now. That should be able to clear up most of the bowmen here. And it'll be interesting to see, okay, c3mbrich, I was going to say how much he does try to micro that, but he kind of just accepts those units that can go on. And it is now improved bowman and probably composite bowman for the Minoans coming out fairly quickly. And the working villager does manage to take out the scout there. So Jesze holds for now. And he is actually still in the eco lead. Like I said, that just that fish eco just keep him going whilst the rest of his eco was running around. And maybe Jesze needs to sort of think about trying to like find some places to do more damage with his war galleys here. Light transport coming out there. I don't know if that was a misclick by c3mbrich or if he is planning to jump the little gap there on the water. And a couple of bowmen were built out from that forward archery range, which are being a little bit of an annoyance. And yeah, you can see Jesze actually has 12 eco kills in that. I don't know if that was mostly the fishing boats, or if there was like farmers that picked up at the edges there. So actually Jesze now in a very solid position. I thought maybe that big massive bowman was going to be able to do more damage than the villagers that it ended up doing, and Jesze managing to sort of run those all away. So yeah, Jesze in a very solid position now. Set himself up nicely with that fish eco, like I said. The composite bowman is coming in now, but the cavalry are also coming forward. Obviously the Yamato cavalry cheaper. Only the +2 from the tool working in terms of the pit tech, so missing the +4 attack, and he doesn't have the armor upgrade either. Obviously, again, doesn't give you any pierce armor, so not really useful against the composite bowman bits. It's not good to just have that base armor in, just to make him way more effective at killing villagers and stuff like that. Not that you really want to be using villagers against cavalry, but actually, tool age tech is fairly cheap. So Jesze is taking a lot of free damage here, so he is just going to lose these cavalry units, so that's a little bit wasteful from him there. And this house isn't even going to go down. It's a little bit sloppy from Jesze. But it feels like he is just trying to get his eco set up. You can see he's got a massive lead on the eco front. And small lead in terms of military for c3mbrich, and he has it actually started adding in those priests again. Few scout ships on the water. Actually, yeah, c3mbrich hasn't actually researched war galley yet. It doesn't have that many resources in hand at the moment. I mean, he doesn't have a huge number of vills. Bowman goes down there. Jesze adding in TCs. And okay, he started cavalry production up again now. This man, it looks like he's sort of got himself controlling that gold again. War galley still being a little bit of annoyance. These war galleys probably won't be able to match up against this number of scout ships. Jesze can lose out a couple there. Like I said, I feel like these war galleys kind of need to be moved somewhere else where they would do something a little bit more useful. Because I mean, he could kill that archery range, but that's not really doing a lot there. Big mass of composite bowmen coming forward now. Obviously, you get the extra +1 range for the Minoans, which actually means c3mbrich is missing the Bronze Age upgrade. He has only got woodworking and he doesn't have artisan ship in yet. And we do have a good number of cavalry. In fact, does he have any armor upgrades? It just has the +2 armor upgrade in at the moment. Nobility coming in for Jesze for that extra HP on the cavalry. That makes complete sense. And yeah, I did have the +4 attack in now. But I mean, surely this game is like unlosable for Jesze at this point. He's just got triple the eco. You should be able to see he's got quite a large score lead. So he should really be thinking about trying to push out here. Obviously, he doesn't know as much as we do here. But he definitely has control of the water. c3mbrich still, only just clicking war galley now. And just getting artisanship of his own in at this point. And yeah, Jesze just needs to maybe try and get a forward siege workshop. Or just, I don't know, I feel like he just needs to be being a little bit more active here. He's got himself set up nicely with the extra TCs now. Defensive sentry tower, so that is defending that goal there now. But I feel like Jesze should sense that he's in a fairly good position. Still no war gap. I don't understand why. I don't really know why Jesze isn't just trying to force this fight. Because, like, surely he's got to expect that his opponent will get War Galley at some point, and he just has such a huge advantage on the water here. Another ship goes down. And we... 18-9 on the water. Yeah, I'm just a little bit confused why Jesse's not trying to stamp his foot down on this game. He's just playing a lot more passively. And like I said, I think c3mbrich is a very strong AoE2 player, so I don't know if it's wise to try and play a macro game. I mean, we can see here that he has a ridiculous advantage, but this is just giving c3mbrich the chance to get himself back in the game. Like I said, they have the faster working food farm bonus, so it's possible. I mean, it shouldn't be possible, but c3mbrich could slowly work his way back in. Okay, we're going to see a bit of an engage here, so it's actually c3mbrich that's forcing them out. Briefs are going to come forward here, though. This may catch Jesse off guard. One conversion comes in, two conversions come in. Is he going to get all three, or the priest's going to get kind of kick? Two conversions in. I think Jesse should still fairly handily win this fight, though. So I'm pretty sure the companies only have +2. Oh, GG is called. So Jesse wins the second game hit. And there we go. So it was go to 1-1. Like, so that was kind of strange that, like, Jesse wasn't pushing his advantage. Yeah, but I was just a little bit confused by that. It was actually like c3mbrich that forced the matter in the end. The game was instantly over. Yeah, that was a bit of an odd one there. Like I said, when the c3mbrich did get in on Jesse, I thought this was... Yeah, you can see at this point the eco is like basically dead even. But Jesse is in the Bronze Age already at this point. Well, I feel like Jesse should have definitely won that game. I was just like I said, it just didn't feel like Jesse was actually pushing his advantage there. And yeah, like I said, I thought in this moment here maybe c3mbrich could clutch the game out, but I don't know. He got a little bit distracted and didn't send the bowman after the villagers. I'm not really sure exactly. Let me just follow that up again. Like, he gets distracted by that cavalry there, and really what he should be trying to do now is hunt down the villagers. Like what was c3mbrich's point of view? Yeah, so you can see that he definitely sees the huge mass of villagers with the scouts there, and maybe c3mbrich just thought that Jesse had a larger number of cavalry in defense, because obviously you can see the cavalry, but then the stables are down here. And yeah, c3mbrich really should have just tried to chase after the villagers there. And yeah, just got a little bit distracted by the cavalry units, and that let those villagers get away. And like I said, Jesse was already not a huge number of fishing boats. Actually, in fact, in this point, he has the same number as c3mbrich does. And then yeah, the scout ship does. Yeah, I feel like Jesse got a little bit lucky there, to be honest. But yeah, like, I think, yeah, I guess the advantage of just being in the Bronze Age were way earlier then just meant that Jesse could just boom up quite nicely. But yeah, like I said, I feel like Jesse maybe should have been a little bit more cutthroat when the score started jumping ahead, and it was kind of weird that it was c3mbrich to like force the issue in the end, like I said. So that is going to bring us to game 3 in the series. Let me just double check something at the moment. We're back up and running in a moment. I just need to sort something out real quick. So yeah, we go back to 1-1, and that was one of Jesse's maps there. So likely in this case, we had Inside Out and Sahara, I believe it was, from c3mbrich. So it'll be interesting to see which of those two maps he does go for there. as the next one. I just need, like I said, I'm just trying to sort something out real quick. I apologise, I will not take too long. Go. Okay, right, let's get us back in. So I'll just quickly go back to the draft just to update that, just for the sake of completeness. So yeah, we saw Coastal there, and Jesze winning out on his Yamato. So he does manage to take out the Minoans there. c3mbrich, it kind of felt like he just never really properly got himself set up on the water, c3mbrich there. Maybe, like I said, the sort of early rush did look like it from Jesze did kind of look like it took c3mbrich a little bit off guard there. I think again I would have preferred to see the scouts out from Jesze, but you could argue that the bowmen caused enough like panic and idle villager time from c3mbrich that they got enough value out of that. So likely is the case we'll see a c3mbrich map next. Just noticed we've got loads of messages on Discord. Hopefully that's nothing too important. Nope. Okay, that's just a couple of my friends talking banter in the chats. Yeah, so let's just jump on in and see what the next map was that was played in the series. I've clicked on the wrong button there. I always get a little bit confused in the menus trying to find the replays. So the next map is going to be Inside Out, and interestingly, how much of a water player he is. Yeah, well, I know, well, basically in every version of Age of Empires that most players aren't hugely fond of water, which I think is a shame. I'm like a big fan of like a mixed variety of maps. I wouldn't want to play like non-stop water maps, but like I've said before, one of my favourite maps is Ocean Ring in this game, just because it's I feel like it's a very unique map. There's lots of different ways of playing the map. But yeah, like I said, the next map is going to be Inside Out, and quite an unusual pick I'm seeing here from c3mbrich. So I'll be able to show you that shortly as well when I get the replay file loaded up. What's going on here? There we go. So Egyptians from Jesze, which is completely understandable. We've seen that many times before on this map, but c3mbrich going with his Persians pick, which is surprising for multiple reasons, really. First and foremost is the Persians aren't particularly good civ on the closed maps. I personally consider them one of the worst civs on these maps. The second reason is the remaining maps in the map pool are Oasis and Sahara, and both of those maps are very strong Persian maps. And also, c3mbrich has had the Hittites in his civ draft, so this strikes me as a very unusual call here. I mean, it is possible that c3mbrich just does take advantage of that early hunt bonus. He's going to scatter all those gazelle, though that wasn't sensible. Like, you can still try to go for Tool Age Rush as the Persians. Egyptians are one of those civs where it takes them a little while to get into the game. No Stone Age bonuses, and you get the cheaper farms in the Tool Age. But that isn't really, farms aren't really that important usually until you've got yourself into the Bronze, because you can usually rely on the berries and the hunt for quite a while. And speaking of berries, we do have a one forward berry for Jesze and one behind. I don't think oh no, he does see that there. Does he see his forward? It doesn't quite see the forward. But it's one berry forward for each player, because it is possible to have both berries behind, which is usually the preference. On some spawns, I don't know, I'm trying to think now if I have actually ever seen two berries forward. I think it's very unusual it does happen. I think it can if, like, you have the more open phase. Like, you can see this spawn's a little bit janky for, like, I guess the berries could maybe spawn here. I don't know exactly what the algorithm for the map spawn is like on this, what sort of ranges things have to be from stuff. But yeah, obviously if we get to the Bronze Age, those Egyptian chariots are just going to be very strong, and also just the Egyptian priests are going to be a little bit hard for c3mbrich to answer with any of his units. Obviously, scouts being much better at dealing with priests now in the current community patch may be useful there. But I suspect if c3mbrich was pulling out the Persians, then I'd hope that he has some sort of early game plan. Is actually c3mbrich didn't actually build a... I didn't really note it there. Obviously, I said about the Gazelle, but he built the storage pit before the granary, which does mean he's going to get that faster wood cutting in a little bit sooner. Whereas I think Jesze did the more standard approach, I think. And actually, yeah, c3mbrich, his berries unfortunately a little far further away, so he's not 100. He won't be 100% certain where those are. And we are on, okay, so about to be 20 vils now, and it looks like c3mbrich is going for the 20 vil up, whereas Jesze is lining himself up for probably the fast Bronze Age. And so yeah, I think c3mbrich is on that clock where he just, with this particular Civ matchup, he needs to get damage done in this tool age before Jesze can just get himself straight up to that bronze. And we can see the villager coming out forward now. It'd be interesting to see the villagers do spot each other. Looks like Jesze maybe just planning to build up a granary. But obviously if Jesze can delay this, yeah, I mean this is completely worth for Jesze, even if these villagers like trade off, if he just delays the barracks going up. And barracks is just going to go up at home now for c3mbrich. So that's a little bit of extra time bought for Jesze there, just with this forward villager being caught out. And I think this is a little bit of a mistake again by Jesze. I think he should recognise in this Civ matchup that his opponent, I mean, yeah, he can see that the villager was obviously trying to come forward. So I think Jesze should have should be expecting his opponent to play aggressively here. So I think this is a mistake, building this granary, because I think these villagers are going to be forced back inside fairly quickly. And that said, no clubman out from c3mbrich. He's just going straight into the slinger, which I personally don't mind too much. I know usually it's better to have a couple of clubbers on the way up to tool, just so you have a little bit more, few more units on the field as soon as you hit that. But obviously Slinger's very good at taking down those walls, and Jese's still chasing the villager, which, like, again, I think this is fine. The damage just kind of has already been done, so maybe like he'll stop chasing. But yeah, now you can see instantly he's going to be pushed off these berries, which is, I think Jeσε should have just gone for the safe berries there. So you're going to lose a villager there already, though. That bear getting that kill in there, and like I said, so that's a bit of a waste by Jesze. He can click up now. He doesn't have either of the buildings. He's hurriedly trying to get him down now. I guess a little bit distracted by what was going on there. So Jeσε delaying his Bronze Age time, and this is just giving c3mbrich the extra chance to break through the walls. And he's actually attacking a wall here as opposed to the gate. I guess when you've got all ranged units, you don't really need to bother with the gate. So it makes sense to go for the slightly lower HP wall section. And it looks like c3mbrich is going to break through this very swiftly, and Bronze Age is finally clicked by Jesze, but a little bit of a delay there. And I don't know if Jesze is going to feel the need to maybe try, I mean, I was going to say build some clubbers, but he doesn't have any of the upgrades in, like he doesn't have AXA or tool working in to support that. And I think this is literally just going to come down to the race of, I mean, yeah, actually, I think I would have preferred this stable from Jesze as well, and then just build the regular chariot, or even maybe even just camels. I mean, I guess he's not on gold. Yeah, just to build some regular chariots then, just to try and deal with the slingers, because obviously chariot archers not particularly good into the sling. Obviously, if you can get massive chariot archers, it's very easy to outrange the sling, but when they're forcing on your base, and yeah, I mean, Bronze Age, like I said, is going to come in, but Jesze, in panic stations, you have to feel here. And again, I feel that that's kind of a little bit funny from c3mbrich there, building a granary on the berries there. I think, yeah, Jesze, yeah, he's penned in all of his woodline as well. Like, sometimes what you can do on this map is run out of the back of your base, but Jesze has chosen his hill to die on, and potentially die is what he's going to do, unfortunately. A tool working is coming in now, and the wheel, so I don't, maybe stable is, yeah, coming out now. So I think it is probably going to be chariots. He has to be, because he's been forced off the gold, so it can't be camels. I mean, actually, I guess he could have collected gold from there, but he pulled these villagers back over to start making more farms. Yeah, he's a little bit pinched for food as well. Slingers, yeah, take another villager down, nearly take a third. And wheel is going to come in before the market gets taken down. Is Jesze going to delete a wall section and try to run? I mean, that was a little lazily done, but the villagers are going to get away, or are they? Jesze feels like he has to pull back half the vills, but that means just these vills here are just trapped now. And it is going to be the regular chariot. So like I said, I feel like this should have just been a stable. Obviously the default play is you want to get those chariot archers on the field. Wheel is in now, so Jesze should be able to just run with the villagers. I don't know what, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why he stopped to chop that one tree there. He's just trying to sort out everything that's going on. Yeah, I think the wheel was like close enough that, yeah. I mean, obviously if the market did go down before wheel got clicked in, then it was basically just GG on the spot there, because it would have had to rebuild the market, then re-click the wheel. But chariots are coming out now. We don't often get to see the regular chariot unit, other than sometimes it just being made to be upgraded into the scythe. But I think it is going to be an important unit. 26 slingers. c3mbrich has not stopped pumping that unit. It's 39 vills actually, as just noticed as well. So c3mbrich been adding in the eco behind this. Jesze only on 23. Obviously he is in the Bronze Age now. I think another villager's just about gets away with that, but that one, okay, both. As I say that, two of them bite the dust. I think, how many chariots do we have? We are on 6, and yeah, we just don't have the resources for Jesze here. And I think for me, c3mbrich has probably done enough in this position. Yeah, he's about to click Bronze Age now, and unless Jesze just instantly clears up all these slingers, which I don't think. I mean, he's got the extra HP on the chariots. I mean, maybe he waits for the next pump of chariots. He's going to have to try and force the engage soon, because otherwise he's just going to be facing up against. I mean, yeah, Persians can just make camels or just cavalry. Either unit's kind of fine in this position. And Jesze, I don't know how this happens so often, but I've seen this so many times where players get the artifact involved. The way I select my units is I don't do this, is I double click. I do that, and then I press Control 1. I mean, yeah, so chariots slowing, artifacts slowing the chariots down a little bit there, but the engagement is going to come in. I think c3mbrich has the bottleneck here. And actually, c3mbrich has done that Jesze a favour by capturing that unit there. But yeah, there's a little bit of and he just deletes the granary, just tries to get the engage in. And like I said, he is going to clear up the slingers here, I think. But he's going to lose a lot of units to do it. And these slingers, they just need to, like I said, they've done their job now. Just as much damage as they could possibly get done here is, even if they do all die. And actually, yeah, c3mbrich using some nice, like bottleneck tricks to get his ranged units as much value out of his ranged units as possible. I think Jesze can just go in and finish those off. I don't know why he's playing as scared as he is for those. He's going to lose another chariot there. The slingers do get cleaned up, but now c3mbrich is about to be in the Bronze Age, and he is nearly double the eco count. I don't think they need minimum range, honestly. Wall does get blocked up again, so that's kind of funny. Obviously, c3mbrich can just go round the edge of the ring. But yeah, it's cavalry units that it's going to be for c3mbrich here. And there's extra HP on the Egyptian chariots, but the cavalry units are just better. I think... Okay, looks like, yeah, Jesse's trying to switch into the chariot archer potentially now, but he just doesn't have the economy to sustain this. And Jesse needs to take as many fights as he can just to get the numbers down before his opponent gets the massacre. And yeah, actually, camels are being switched into now. Camels' bonus damage does get slightly blocked by chariots. I can't see it here because actually Jesse doesn't have any of the armor in, but chariots do have +4 cavalry armor. So they are slightly resistant to anti-cavalry attacks. So you can see here, this should be doing 14 damage, but it would actually do, I think it's 10. Obviously it's going to be impossible to tell here just because there's so many units doing damage here. Yeah, chariot archer is being made now. Jesse is trying to get eco up and running, but yeah, plenty of villagers working hard for c3mbrich there. And small wall is being researched. I guess c3mbrich just maybe, yeah, he's just going to try and build up a base behind here, probably wall up this section of the map. Quite a big wide section there, but you can see the score. c3mbrich probably feeling pretty good about himself. Obviously he's not, well, he lost one villa. I guess that was that one that was running around this centre of the map in the initial play. Just treating it a little bit annoying. Maybe able to actually house his opponent here. 72, actually no, yeah, c3mbrich, yeah, just adding an extra couple of houses is ready for that. Camels are going to come out. Still no armor in for Jesse, so these camels are just going to absolutely eat these chariots. Yeah, they've got +4 armor on these camels as well. This is just going to be completely lopsided. So Jesse loses all the chariots. He just has the chariot archers left now. And c3mbrich not actually making any military units, still just focusing on his economy after adding in that extra TC. Ooh, actually, I didn't see this, but the cavalry has actually wrapped around the side. Yeah, it did go for the big flank. And the farmer's going to be forced to run here. And the wood line is safe for the time being. Chariot archers pulled back. I think we have enough chariot archers here, yeah, to push these away. I think Jesse should try and get himself onto gold again. And then try and make some camels of his own. Probably play, now that he's seen that his, well, Persians just like to play cavalry anyway. They get the faster working stable as well as, well, yeah, they just, yeah, usually play those cavalry units. Obviously, they do have access to the composite bowman, but you don't normally see that unit come out. Camels are coming forward now, and wall did get built up behind there, but it could work our way through this storage pit. Chariot archers are going to be able to hold the position still here. I don't know if we got +4 armor, just +2 armor now at the moment. Nobility is coming in for c3mbrich. I don't think Jesse has nobility. I think that's just the bonus from the Egyptians. Yeah, he doesn't have nobility in himself. And Jesse will need to kite this back. Try and avoid taking as much damage as possible. And there's cavalry. Again, somehow the artifacts got mixed up in the group, slowing those cavalry units down. I don't get how this happens so often. But anyway, just tickles me a little bit. That granary is going to be taken down after most of the boat. 28 food on that berries left. Jesse trying to get, but just pick off a unit, and he's going to break up the group there to take out the slingers. So okay, maybe it doesn't care too much about that. The villager is slightly on the wrong side of the wall. He can run back through the gate again, I guess, but he is probably going to get these walls up. A little bit of fight on the front here now, and hopefully Jesse is paying attention. Loses a unit. That was, I don't know, I was going to say that was fairly good control from Jesse when he noticed, and then he stopped controlling the units again. I guess he's fighting on two fronts here, And he does get on the eco of c3mbrich here. So again, still a very large eco lead for c3mbrich in this position. But Jesze not out of it just yet. His cavalry coming back to be a nuisance. The walls are fully up. I think that villager will get caught out though. Jesze unfortunately didn't save him. Catapult getting a couple of shots in. And like I say, chariot archers don't normally have to care too much about catapults. But if you aren't paying attention, then their stone throwers can still do quite a lot of damage. And sentry tower now coming up for c3mbrich, which isn't a bad shout. And chariot archers do struggle a little bit when your entire enemy base is covered by towers. Jesze, I think he still doesn't. Yeah, still doesn't have the plus. Okay, it's coming in now. +4 armor for Jesze. Again, I still don't think he has nobility either. So Jesze, just again struggling a little bit with the economy, trying to get those farms down now. And I think we just missed. I'm going to rewind for that because I think we just missed a big couple of stone thrower hits there. Yeah, big damage in from the stone throwers, and yeah, just a lot of action around the map. Jesze just not able to keep track of all the fronts. You can see he's got did manage to get some villager kills on the wood line there, and the tower going up now as well. But yeah, the units broken through the gate, and this is going to be trouble for Jesze. He's going to have to pull units back. But I don't know how many units he actually has in this part of the map. Yeah, sentry towers defending the farms at the back here now. This raid has halted for the time being, and again we've got the artifact involved. Is this an artifact on like a full lap of the map? Sorry, I got distracted there. But GG was called, and yeah, fairly solid game by c3mbrich in the end. Again, I think there was a couple of small mistakes by Jesze. They weren't major ones, but they were like just gave c3mbrich that extra time he needed. The first mistake I think is this. Obviously, you could argue in a way it was good in a way to go for this, because that first villager I think this first villager's plan is to build the granary. So you could argue that if this villager doesn't go out, Jesze never spots this vill here, and the barracks goes up in his fate, and it's a lot quicker. So you could argue that way, but at the same time, once he's seen this villager, I feel like Jesze should have had the foresight to be like, all right, he's going to try and rush me. It's not a good idea to build a granary here. So I feel like the first bad thing from Jesze was just building that granary there. Just because, like I said, he only got like a very small amount of the berries there before being forced off. Second thing was, obviously it took Jesze like, how long? Okay, he just didn't have the wood, actually, was the problem. Because I was going to say he had the food for a while, but actually the problem here wasn't that he didn't build the buildings in time, it's just he didn't actually have enough wood for the buildings. So how long did it take him? Maybe it wasn't as long as I thought, actually. Maybe I just noticed, like, because I was paying attention to the bear fight out there. The 2 buildings went down. So there's a little bit of a delay getting those buildings down. So probably should have had an extra villager or two on wood for the optimal uptime. And yeah, probably Jesze should have added an extra villager at this point as well, because there was a little bit of. I feel like I'm nitpicking now. So maybe I shouldn't be like overly yeah, pedantic about Jesse's plays, but yeah. So yeah, a little bit delay on the Bronze Age time, and then I think, like I said, I guess at this point you hadn't seen the number of slings. So yeah, like obviously this is kind of all like I could see, obviously, that c3mbrich was massing slings. Yeah, so maybe this wasn't actually a bad shout from Jesze. Like I said, normally you do want to go for the chariot archer, but like obviously if Jesze could have seen what we did, then ideally this would have been the stable and just get some melee units out to try and deal with the slingers. It would have been ideally the best play. And then it just took Jesze a little bit too long to get to those get those chariot units out on the field. And I don't know, it's always a little bit hard to judge, because like the slingers obviously don't really do much against the chariots, but when there's that massive slingers, it's hard to get a read on how many chariots you do need to win that engage. And then c3mbrich did a good job of just being really annoying with these slingers, dragging them around. And then yeah, the other thing was c3mbrich, like I said, just building up the eco nicely behind. Not panicking, didn't feel like he had to rush to the Bronze Age anytime soon, just get himself up nicely, set up nicely on the eco front, and then just in his own time get himself up there. And Jesze did get himself a good massive chariot archers at the end, but like I said, c3mbrich just had so much of an eco lead at the end that it was going to be difficult for even the Egyptians to come in back into the game at that point. We're actually going to have a quick check of just see what the eco. Yeah, you can see that's 10k more or less more resources gathered for c3mbrich there. So, like I said, slightly unusual choice of the Persians by c3mbrich there, but the one play they do have on those more closed maps is obviously to try and go for the all-in, and that's what he did. Again, maybe Jesze had a couple of small slip-ups, but still solid play from c3mbrich nonetheless. You should have built barracks with a. Do you mean Jesze? Yeah, well, like I said, I think in hindsight, after watching the replay back, I think the biggest mistake was committing to the granary. I think he should have just, yeah, like you say, he could have saved the wood there, and then maybe then he would have had the wood to get those two tool age buildings down. So yeah, you could be right there for that. I'll just mark off. So we had inside out played. So you would assume now that Oasis was going to be the map that Jesze picks. And like I said, the Persians are out now for c3mbrich. So we had the Egyptians lose there for Jesze. But that said, Jesze doesn't have that because he used his Yamato and he's used the Carthaginians as well. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Phoenicians. So I suspect, I mean, maybe Romans are the pick here. So these are still two solid civs, but they're not actually like the best of civs for these more open maps. So maybe c3mbrich isn't as bad as a position as I thought. Chosen can still do a scout rush of sorts just because they get those cheaper storage pit techs. You basically get a free scout as the Chosen just from how much food they save on those storage pit techs, which is quite nice at the very beginning of Tool Age. Obviously, there's only a kind of very limited bonus in the long run. So maybe, yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe it will be the Roman, or maybe just Phoenicians, just as a slightly all-round, stronger all-round civ. Jesze maybe goes out here, but I won't leave that up to speculation too much longer. We can just jump straight in, like I said. So the civs are going to be, oh wow, okay, so neither of the civs I was expecting get picked. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is like I think they both look like they're pretty solid players. Wattle. It's just one of those things where they probably just don't know the full ins and outs of AoE1 yet. So like, but you can tell, like, obviously a lot of skills transfer between different RTS. So it's just filling in that like knowledge gap, right, and just getting a little bit more experience, and they could be very solid players. But yeah, like I said, the two civs I wasn't expecting to see here are the Hittites from c3mbrich and the Babylonians from Jesze here. And I actually do quite like the Babylonians in this matchup, just because their chariots are very good at dealing with the Hittite chariots. Just that +1 pierce armor for the chariot, for both the regular chariot and chariot archer, the Babylonians, basically effectively cancelling out the Hittite +1 attack bonus, and then Babylonians just have the advantage of those cheaper market techs, which is obviously the Hittites' only discount bonus they have is this cheaper wheel. So in the earlier phases of the game, for sure, I do prefer the Babylonians. If this game does go long, then the Hittite Iron Age I do think is stronger than the Babylonians. So because like if you can get to that horse archer, then just the one pierce arm on the chariots doesn't feel as strong in that case. And yeah, the Babylonians, they do have, I think Babylonians get legionary, but I think they missed like a few upgrades in the legion. Yeah, they don't have all the pierce armor upgrades, so probably not a great unit to build against the Hittites. But yeah, Babylonians usually just forced to play mostly Scythe Chariot in the late game, whereas the Hittites have quite a lot of options actually. Imagination of Jesze being a full H2 player. I have played some H2 games with Jesze. We did some 2v2 games with him a while back. I did some 2v2 games with him a while back, and he wasn't too bad at that. Obviously, I'm actually more of an AoE2, excuse me, historically more of an AoE2 player. So I do consider myself a lot better at AoE2 than I am at AoE1. Which maybe doesn't mean a huge amount, because obviously if people have seen my AoE1 games, I'm not definitely not the strongest AoE1 player. I like to think I'm fairly decent at AoE2 though. But yeah, like I said, both slightly unusual civs. Like both of these civs you consider closed map civs, and Oasis is exactly the opposite of that. And I don't know, maybe Jesze just had like a bit of a gut feeling that his opponent maybe picked the Hittites here, because I don't really know why you'd pick the Babylonians otherwise. I think Babylonians was Jesse's 6th pick from the Civ draft as well, if I'm remembering correctly. And both players with extra vills in the queue. And it'd be interesting to see if they do both play for the Bronze Age here. I mean, we do have a villager, excuse me, coming forward from c3mbrich. I would have thought here Jesze would probably want to just try an all-in push with slingers. The Babylonians do get the cheaper architects, like I said, so it makes sense to try and lean into that to some degree. And the Hittites not getting their slingers themselves can make that a little bit difficult for them to deal with. But it looks like Jesze is just going to play from home. He did actually cancel those vills, but it looks like we're going to have quite a lot of idle TC time, because we're still quite a ways off getting that last route in. It's going to be over a minute of idle TC time, and c3mbrich is just adding vills. I don't know how much exploration for extra elephants we've done here. Jesze has an elephant here. Unfortunately, both these elephants are right near the tree line, which makes them a little bit more out of the way. c3mbrich, meanwhile, has found another elephant there. How much exploration? I know he sent that forward villager. I don't know if anyone noticed. I don't know if that elephant actually got brought all the way back or not. But barracks, I presume, yep, going up at home. And Jesze is the first to click, but he is 3 villagers behind. So yeah, about equal idle TC time. But yeah, I don't think c3mbrich has set himself. Yeah, he's got nowhere near enough food to go fast bronze here. And yeah, both players just playing. And well, I mean, it's double barracks, so maybe it is going to be a big slinger push. But both of the barracks are at home, and yeah, he's gathering stone. So it indicates to me that Jesze is thinking about just trying to push in with the slingers, but he's got a long way to go to reach his opponent there. And he is actually going to add in the watchtower as well. Obviously, Babylonians get higher HP walls and towers. And is this... okay, it's just the market going down. Defensive tower on the wood line. And I guess it's defending the stone as well. It's a little bit awkward for the stone. I guess the Babylonian villagers do carry a little bit of extra stone, which means they're going to have to like do less trips, so it's not as bad. Yes, suspect stone mining is going to come in fairly quickly from Jesze. And market going up, I guess, for woodworking for c3mbrich. And he is still that couple of villagers ahead. yeah, double archery range. Obviously, Hittites prefer to play with his bowmen, but the +1 attack is countered by the slinger ever since that update when they changed the base pierce armor of the slinger from 2 to 3. Unfortunately, that slinger's taken quite a lot of damage there from the lion. And Jesze now starts to go on a hunt for his opponent. Well, see, we can see c3mbrich is trying to wall up now. Jesze gets enough slingers. Obviously, that won't be too much of an issue for him to deal with, punching through those walls. But yeah, c3mbrich, like I said, has just had that very slight villager edge, for quite a while now. And I don't know if... Did I not see? Yeah, stone mining's still not in. Jesze just doesn't quite have the food available to get the upgrade. And I guess it's not too important just yet. Because stone mining actually makes no difference to how much damage you do to stone walls. I don't know if people actually know about that. Because the 3 pierce armor just completely counters the base damage from stone mining, and then it's just all the bonus damage that actually does any damage. So we do see a bit of an engage here, and Jesze... I thought those were slingers there, so I was like really confused why Jesze wasn't taking the 5. Now I realise that's 5 villagers forward. Is this... Was he just trying to forward tower his opponent? This feels like... Oh, I'm not a huge fan of this, especially because his tower is like in the middle of nowhere. He's not ranging basically any... Like, if he built the tower here, like, you're at least covering off this gate, denying some stone. That's a very weird tower play. I guess maybe he's just going to try and, yeah, work himself way through the... Although, tower and... I mean, why are we shooting this house? I'm so confused. I mean, we are going to get through, and villager isn't quite going to get sniped, but we are in. Jesze is in. We have a storage pit on the stone back here. Stable is going up in response, so that's sensible. So now, watchtower in his opponent's face here. And again, I feel like this, I'm not really sure why we haven't built that like right next to the farm. Scout's going to make this a little bit awkward, but I think Jesze has enough slingers to hold his position. More villagers coming forward. I don't... Okay, sorry, those are the ones going to the stone, aren't they? Jesze has plenty of stone here. I feel like that's a little bit odd. Another tower is going up, but scouts are out in the field now. Slingers need to be getting damage done. He can't leave his villagers exposed here. He's pulling his units in 2 different directions. That tower probably should be deleted by Jesze to conserve resources. Please delete the tower, Jesze. And okay, so that's about 80 stone wasted by Jesze there. So that is unfortunate. These slingers are just going to get taken down by the scouts now. And the villagers are going to bone down the towers. And I think Jesze is committed a few too many vills to this strategy, which is now going to put him massively far behind. And I think this would have made, to do a tower push, I think it would have made more sense to maybe go with axes forward than slingers, just so you can actually, I don't know, maybe you could argue the slingers better against the bowman. I don't know, I think this was a little bit too outside the box from Jesze. Maybe you can respect the idea of going for a little bit of an alternate strategy there. But yeah, maybe Jesze maybe needs some lessons from KT about the tower push. Well, I don't feel like we see like early game towers from KT very often. Usually like maybe some defensive towers, but yeah, scouts in more than enough numbers to easily deal with the slingers now. Yeah. Tower force. I mean, Jesze garrisoning the vills a little bit early there, but obviously does want to keep them protected. And I think this is basically... Oh, actually, no, I say that. It's 33 to 31 on the village. I was expecting c3mbrich to be far more ahead. I guess those thingers did maybe manage. Yeah, you can see here managed to kill. Well, actually managed to kill 8 villagers there. That was a lot more than I felt like I saw. Suggesting it was the Bronze Age coming in now. But yeah, I was expecting c3mbrich to be much further ahead on the villager count there. But obviously, with so many villagers being moved around the map for Jesze, a lot of sort of, well, yeah, villagers not actually gathering resources. So in terms of actual resources gathered, c3mbrich, I'm sure, is very far ahead, which is what has got us up to the Bronze Age faster. Yeah, over 1,000, yeah, about 1,200 extra resources from, yeah, most of that is in fact in food. Obviously a lot of stone gathered by Jesze, which effectively at this point, I mean, I guess we got a lot of towers going up in defense now, so maybe not completely useless, but yeah, Jesze definitely on the back foot here, and you can see he's got nowhere near enough villagers on food to get him anywhere near the Bronze Age anytime soon. And I'm a little bit surprised by this play, because I feel like I said, I feel like the Babylonians match up very well into the Hittites in the earlier stages of the game. So I don't feel like Jesze needs to go for that sort of desperation play there. I like the idea of the slinger push. I wasn't really feeling the tower push behind it. And like I said, I feel like there was slightly suboptimal tower placements in the beginning there. And then it was just a very nice response by c3mbrich, just very quick stables to get those scouts out to deal with the slingers. And that's the problem with only massing up one unit, is you do make it very easy for your opponent to try and counter you. Jesze does have a good number of axes now, but yeah, he's just researching more techs and committing more to the Tool Age when his opponent is just clear in the Bronze Age now. And chariot archers are being added in, and additional, we don't actually see them that often, but cavalry from the Hittites. Cavalry are just very good at mopping up a lot of the Tool Age units. They can struggle a little bit with large numbers of axes, but if you just have a good enough number of cavalry, you can just like focus down axes fairly easy. And obviously chariot archers even better at dealing with axes. So I think, unfortunately for Jesze, this is actually going to mean he's out of the tournament, which is crazy to say, because Jesse's usually a player to advance through the early rounds usually fairly easily. But again, with c3mbrich was like a little bit of an unknown factor, so I think we probably underseeded him. Weren't really sure how much experience he had with the game. And Jesse's going to play on for the time being, but I just feel like the advantage of being in the Bronze Age is going to be too much for Jesze to do much about, especially as, like I said, c3mbrich is committing to making those cavalry, which are going to make these slingers like a complete non-factor. And yeah, I mean, even the chariot archers can deal with slingers fine as long as you're paying attention. Just kite back. And yeah, cavalry come in, slingers are all going to go bye-bye. Jesze only just sort of now getting the food eco he needs to start thinking about Bronze Age. He's actually still missing a Tool Age building, so we'll need to build another building soon. But I think this is probably going to be, yeah, looks like Jesze has, yeah, there we go. Just realised now he needs another building to add to his market so that you can click up to bronze. But yeah, the units are going to start flooding forward, and if the Hittites are ever ahead in the Bronze Age, I feel like there's basically almost like no way of beating the Hittites at this point, just because those Hittite chariot archers are just so incredibly strong. That's kind of weird, they're kind of like stacked on top of each other there. Kind of looks like sort of drag effect. He's going so fast, there's double. Yeah, this confused me a little bit as well. I feel like you could have just built, yeah, well, he's built it there now. You could have just built that storage pit on the other side of the stone earlier, instead of sending villagers halfway across the map. I guess he's probably, oh no, he still hasn't actually found that stone there. But yeah, cavalry chewing up the last of the Tool Age units. woodworking only just coming in now for Jesze as the Babylonians. That's pretty not great. Bronze Age, I suspect, will come in before this game is done. But yeah, Jesze, no gold. Like ideally, he probably the best unit in this situation with him would be the camel, but he's not put himself onto any gold yet. And yeah, now his wood lines are going to start getting raided. Can hide 5 villagers in the tower there. The rest are going to be forced to go further afield. I think that was another villager, yep, getting taken out by the cavalry there. Okay, GG, maybe. Do we get Bronze? Okay, Bronze Age into GG. Good luck next round. And that's 3-1 for c3mbrich. And like I said, I didn't know what to expect from him in this series. But I've said in the past, my nickname for Jesze was that he was the gatekeeper for AoE1, just because obviously Jesze been around in the scene for a very long time, and it's like if you can manage to beat Jesze, that means you're like a pretty solid player of Age of Empires 1. And it'll be interesting to see how, like we saw in the Pume series the other day, both these Spanish players fairly solid at the game, and it will be interesting to see how far they both can get into the tournament and how well they'll match up against some of the strongest of the Return of Rome players. And like I said, some slightly unusual plays from Jesze. Like I said, I saw on the Discord chat where he was talking to us, he was saying he didn't feel like he'd played his best games. But regardless, I think we've all got to say that c3mbrich played these games pretty well. There was, like, again, that one incident in the Highland game where he let Jesze in through his gate by accident, but that's happened to the best of us. So yeah, maybe just, like I said, maybe just a bit more practice, c3mbrich could be pretty solid contender. Again, I don't think I like this. Like I called the Slinger Rush, and I think that made sense. I think this was an overplay by Jesze sending all these villagers forward here, and I guess the thought process is that he's just trying to prevent c3mbrich from ever getting to the Bronze Age. So you can understand the thought process of just trying to be very aggressive, but like I said, I think the Babylonians do pretty well into the Bronze Age of the Hittites. So I think Jesze could have just, like I said, pushed with the slingers, added in eco behind it, and not overplayed the Tool Age, and just try to get himself a small edge in the Tool Age where his Civ is definitely stronger than the Hittites. And then yeah, just play into the Bronze Age and see if he can win out at that point. But yeah, maybe it was just like Jesze just going for a Hail Mary and just thought, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to go for it, see what happens. And like I said, the first tower, I mean, it probably didn't matter this tower too much at the end, but I probably would have preferred it to be a little bit further up. Like, arguably, it didn't really make much of a difference in the end anyway. I mean, this tower basically did nothing right, because he didn't even shoot this house, which is how he broke in. So yeah, like this tower was just shooting this house, which is why I was getting like a bit flabbergasted at the time. I was like, well, maybe we can right-click this house and do a bit more damage. So I guess the tower probably did finish off that house eventually. Oh, the slingers came in and out. And then again, this tower probably could have been a little bit deeper. And then by the time the third tower went down, there was just enough scouts already out in the field. Yeah, like I said, very nice response by c3mbrich. Like as soon as he saw the actually, did he already have when did that stable there go up? Well, yeah, literally as instantly as soon as he saw the slingers, stable went straight up. So yeah, very nice response by c3mbrich there. And then the second stable to boot when he saw that his opponent was committing to this all-in. And I think this is like one of the things I don't see enough players do, is just like being versatile, and like when it's like, all right, I wanted to go bowman, that's not going to work, it's time to switch up and change the plan. And obviously scouts can be quite expensive to transition to once you commit to like the bowman. but it was obviously the correct play here to deal with the slingers. The bowmen weren't going to cut it. So yeah, very nice adaptability by c3mbrich there. And actually, I didn't see these bowmen here. I don't know. I said that. I guess he was probably trying to go for the counter attack with the bowman. So yeah, very nice map play. Unfortunately, he didn't find his opponent there, or not for a while at least. So yeah, I actually missed this play. So yeah, like he's realised his opponent's got slingers, his base, the bows aren't going to be useful there. So yeah, he's just trying to be active on the map and try and get some damage in. Even if it's just, yeah, try and pick up a villager here or there, just try and get some value out of the bowman. So yeah, look, opportunistic play here. So yeah, you can tell he's a very strong player because he's not being wasteful, trying to make the most of the units he has, and then yeah, being adaptive. And like I said, and then yeah, this little bit here, a little bit odd from Jesze. The stone did run. Oh, actually, I thought the stone was between these two pits here, but it was actually over here. So the stone did actually run out. So, and yeah, Jesze just not able to find the second stone near his base there. So he went for the stone on the opposite side of the map. I guess there's not actually that much stone on this map. I guess it's not really like a thing I usually take into account, is like the amount of stone on the map. But anyway, I've been rambling on about this series for a little while whilst the game was over, and like I said, a very nice 3-1 victory in the end for c3mbrich there. And like I said, I'm very interested to see how well he does into the rest in the rest of the series tournament. That's the word I'm trying to think of.